You know what's wild? There are freelancers on Upwork right now who are half as skilled as you, yet they're making double or even triple what you're making. Same platforms, same market, same playing field, but they're not more talented. They just own who they are. So why do they win the jobs instead of you? Well, let's take a guess. It's because they've got something you don't. Not more experience, not better results, just better branding. I'm Josh Campbell, and I've been making a full-time living as a freelancer for almost a decade. And some months have been up to $40,000 a month. Here's the proof. And I'm telling you not as a YouTube coach or a career guru, but as someone who was once broke, overlooked, and spinning in his own head. Because I used to be that guy who had everything in place. Good samples, decent testimonials, well-written proposals, still silence. No responses, no invites, no traction. Until it hit me. I didn't have a work problem. I had a presence problem. I didn't know how to lead with clarity. I didn't own the room or even the tab I was on. Clients didn't remember me. I didn't stand out. I didn't speak anything emotionally. My profile was clean, polite, professional, and completely forgettable. And that's what we're fixing today. Because whether you realize it or not, your personal brand is speaking before you do. The way your headline feels, the voice in your bio, your opening video, the way your case studies are framed. That's your first impression. And if that first impression is bland, the game's already over. Let's slow that down and really sit with it now. Now, imagine a client that's scrolling through 40 profiles. They're busy, they've got a problem they needed solving yesterday, and every single profile looks exactly the same. Creative problem solver, 5 years of experience in video editing, passionate about delivering high quality work on time. You've seen this before. You've written this before. It's wallpaper, it's white noise. It's Dasani water on a shelf full of Dasani water. But then something stands out. Something cuts through. That one headline that reads, "I help scrappy tech startups look way more funded than they actually are." It's specific, it's funny, it's useful, it's alive. Now the client's leaning in and they're curious. Now they're feeling something. And that right there, that's branding. But not the Canva and color palette kind. It's not positioning, it's not decoration, it's self-respect in public form, it's emotional leadership, it's the micro story you're telling, the signal you're sending that says, hey, I've done this, I get it, and I've got you. That's what makes a client stop scrolling and click through. And the craziest thing, once I changed that, just the way I sounded on Upwork, my messages tripled. I didn't even update my samples yet. That's how much weight tone carries. Let me show you how deep this really goes. Let's talk about liquid death. It's a can of water, for goodness sake. That's it. No vitamins, no performance hack, no secret Himalayan glacier, just water. But it feels like chaos. It feels punk. It feels like it belongs in a mosh pit, not a yoga studio. Why? Because they branded the feeling, not the product. They made you feel like drinking liquid death was an act of rebellion. Like you were part of something loud, something weird, something unapologetic. They murdered thirst by branding like a heavy metal album. And it worked. That water became a $700 million brand because it wasn't about shouting, it was about a signal. The kind of masculine clarity that makes people stop and say, this feels intentional, this feels alive. So let me ask you, why are you still trying to sound like Dasani? Because that's exactly what 90% of Upwork profiles are still doing. Playing it safe, playing it bland, writing bios that sound like LinkedIn resumes. No edge, no story, just lifeless lists of tasks. And that's why you may be broke. And I say that with genuine concern, because I was broke for the same reason. I had skills, I had client receipts, but I didn't own the way I showed up. I wasn't leading with presence, I was hoping for permission. Now, let's bring this back to you, because I want this video to feel like a mirror. What does your profile say in the first 2 seconds? Does it say, I get you? Does it say, I've done this before? Does it say, I'm worth the money? Or does it say absolutely nothing, because I've read thousands of freelancer profiles and most of them sound like robots trapped in a Google Doc. They're not bad per se, but they're just blank. And that brings us here. This part right here is where most freelancers get stuck for years without realizing it. You've got the skills, you're doing the work, maybe you've even got a few clients under your belt, but something still feels a little bit off. Like your presence isn't doing justice to your potential and isn't the magnet to your opportunities. Like you're always one good client away from momentum, but that client keeps passing you by. So let's talk about the real fix now. Not a better pitch, not a shinier sample, not even a new niche. Let's talk about brand identity. Now, I know what you might be thinking here. That term gets thrown around a lot and usually ends up meaning a Canva template and a color palette, but this isn't that. I'm not talking about logos or Instagram aesthetics. I'm talking about presence, essence, the way people feel when they land on your profile, the leadership in your language, the clarity in your tone, the coherence in your self-image. That thing clients can't always explain, but they know it when they feel it. That's your brand identity. And when it's missing, your entire freelance presence feels like static. Like you're saying all the right things, but no one's really hearing. And like I said, I learned this the hard way too. I once built a little mini fitness brand called Health Hunk, which coached other people through fitness journeys. I spent hours making it look beautiful, tweaking taglines, obsessing over Lightroom edits and color grading, and it flopped because I was focused on how it looked, not how it delivered. I was so focused on customers' perceptions of me and my sunk cost in this creative adventure. But what mattered was the result, the message, the substance, the delivery. And I had missed all of that. That brand taught me everything I now teach. Your identity isn't how pretty your page is, it's how clearly your value lands. But when your brand identity is sharp, the game changes. You stop being a freelancer, you become the obvious choice. Brand identity, at its core, is the consistent expression of who you are and what you offer. Not just what you do, but how you do it. And more importantly, how it makes other people feel. It's the energy behind your tone, the intention behind your structure, the clarity behind your chaos. And it goes hand in hand with your brand personality, which is, simply put, the human traits you want your presence to carry. Are you calm and grounded? Loud and funny, minimal and tactical? The personality isn't a gimmick, it's your literal filter. It shapes every word you write, every image you share, every offer you make. And this is your force field against the ever-ending doom of AI content flooding the internet and threatening your job, and everyone templating everything. The stuff that cuts through isn't cleaner, it's more human. The imperfections, the quirks, the choices only a real person could make. That's what gives your brand soul. Without that, you're just another auto-filled proposal in a sea of sameness. When I finally figured this out for myself, it was like someone turned the lights on. I wasn't just throwing services into the void, I was building something that had a voice. And a little pro tip for you here: send personalized Loom messages, make video calls, get onto those calls as much as it might feel uncomfortable. My personal Looms going through my portfolio, my brand, and what results could do for my clients changed everything. That was my humanity, and I wasn't a picture-perfect script too. And the second that voice started speaking with consistency, people started actually listening and were being convinced. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Here's your unfair advantage. So how do you find yours? You start by listening to your own taste. You think about who you're drawn to. Which creators or brands feel like they just get it? You notice how they talk, how they structure ideas, the pace, the tone, the rhythm. You start to see patterns, and those patterns are pointing you towards your own voice. You're meant to imitate, to then find who you are and explore in depths that are a little bit unconventional. Go to the places you've probably been muting because you thought it was too weird, too casual, too niche, too something. But that's the exact voice clients are dying to hear because it sounds alive. Then you sit down and ask yourself what you actually want your presence to make people feel. People don't remember what you do or say, it's how you make them feel. So don't focus on what you're saying, but how you want them to feel. Seen, understood, pumped, relieved. Once you have that emotional compass, everything changes. Your headline stops being a bland job title and starts becoming a handshake. Your bio starts reading like a mission, not another resume. Your proposals start landing because they don't feel like cold outreach anymore. They feel like continuity. That's when the story clicks, and the beautiful part is you don't need expensive tools to do this. You just need honesty, a blank document, a willingness to go there. You can even write your own creative brief like agencies do for brands. Literally, outline your tone, your values, the transformation your work creates, the personality you want to carry into every interaction. And then read it out loud. See if it sounds like someone you'd want to hire. Test that. Now, let's talk about application, because all this emotional clarity doesn't mean much unless you translate it onto the platforms where people are actually hiring. On Upwork, it starts with the headline. That one line at the top of your profile isn't just SEO, it's your tagline, it's your hook. And it needs to say something real, something memorable, something only you would say. If your headline could be copy-pasted into 5 other profiles and still make sense, it's not strong enough. You're not selling a service, you're selling a signal. And if you're not using a profile video yet, you're just leaving trust on the table. This is my absolute biggest hack, because video is the most leverageable format to communicate. It shows you raw. Phone video is authentic, and they know who they're working with. Just a short face to camera, 30 seconds of who you help, how, and why you care. It makes your page 10 times more human, and that connection is what makes clients click. Your bio, that's your origin story, the condensed trailer of your creative identity. It should show why you do what you do, how you do it differently, and what someone gets when they work with you. Not passionate about helping businesses grow, that means nothing. Say something that actually matters, something that came from a real place. And your portfolio, that's your proof. Not just through visuals, through narrative. Give every project a short backstory. Why it happened, what you contributed, what shifted because of it. Help the clients see the impact, not just the output. Instead of just showing the finished logo, explain how it helped increase their signups or brought their new product to life. And as I touched on earlier, here's what I do that actually gets me booked. I send a personalized Lou message that mirrors their proposal back to me. I tell them in one clear line why I'm the right choice. That's the first thing I say. Then I stack credibility. Here's who I've worked with. Here's what we did. And then I show examples. Only then I talk about price. Why? Because by that point, they're already sold on me as a person, not just a task. So think person, process, price. Price comes last. Once you align your identity with how you show up, everything just gets easier. Your offers become clearer, your messaging sharpens, your energy feels less scattered. You stop second-guessing yourself because you're not performing anymore. You're showing up as someone specific. That's when clients don't just read your profile, they remember it. They send invites without asking for discounts. They tell you you felt like the right fit. Not because of keywords, because of coherence. And you know what? That's the part that almost no one talks about. Personal branding isn't just a growth hack, it's a survival skill in this space. Because when platforms get saturated, when markets get flooded, the ones who stand out aren't always the most talented. They're the most felt. Now, all I ask is subscribe if you're done being invisible. I make videos every week to help you lead in business, in relationships, and in your own head. This isn't about hustle to build your dream career. It's about identity that lasts forever. And it's probably one of the greatest investments you can make into yourself. Let's build your business just right.